Gecko Moria is truly the black sheep of the Warlords. While most of them have admirable traits which make them endearing, Moria is arguably the only one who is defined by his negative characteristics. Which is unfortunate because Moria was actually really competent and respectable at the start of his pirate career. But as the years progressed, he fell off hard. So in this video, I'll be going over everything that has culminated into the rise and fall of Gecko Moria. If you enjoy my videos, then please consider like, sharing, and subscribing. With that out the way, let's begin. Like many pirates, Gecko Moria started his pirate career 24 years ago after the death of Goldie Roger. He gathered a crew and formed the Gecko Pirates, and within his first year of piracy, Moria had made some major strides and reached a bounty of 320 million berries. And keep in mind that Moria's pirate crew wasn't just full of some average pirates. Moria states that his crew members were renowned, so they had to have been skilled fighters to a certain capacity. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made it to the New World within their first year. The Gecko Pirates reached Wano where they challenged Kaido and the Beast Pirates, but we all know how the story goes. Moria's crew was obliterated by the Beast Pirates, leaving him the sole survivor of his crew. This had such a profound effect on Moria that he changed his entire philosophy on how to become Pirate King. He was so devastated by the loss of his crew that he was no longer going to gather a crew of living beings. That's because Moria felt a genuine connection with his crew, and he didn't want to go through the pain of losing them again, leaving him to develop the outlook that the reason he lost his crew is because that they are mortal. Moria still wanted to become Pirate King, but his approach was now going to change. He went back to the West Blue, where he converted an island into a ship, creating Thriller Bark, and he formed a new crew called the Thriller Bark Pirates. Using his powers, he was going to use zombies from now on to form his crew. Zombies are just reanimated corpses whose only purpose is to fulfill whatever Moria wills, so it doesn't matter if he loses them. He has no emotional connection to them, as they are expendable. With that said, there were still some members of his new crew that were alive. This included Moria, Absalom, Perona, and Dr. Hogback. Together, they formed the Mysterious Four. With Moria's Devil Fruit and Dr. Hogback's medical expertise, they created zombies that we see inhabiting Thriller Bark. Moria definitely peaked when he challenged Kaido, but he hasn't completely fallen off yet. If anything, he remained stagnant while he robbed the shadows from Marines, pirates, and civilians alike in order to expand his army of zombies. At some point after the Thriller Bark Pirates were formed, Moria was made a warlord, which is a huge step up for him. He had gained enough infamy that the world government respected him enough to make him a warlord of the sea. However, unlike certain warlords who used their status for their own personal gain, Moria was too lazy to do anything really with his title. He was content to continue amassing a crew of zombies so that he could eventually attempt becoming a Pirate King again. But who knows when that would have been. If Moria wasn't so slothful, then he could have soared to even greater heights. I don't doubt that Moria was much stronger when he fought Kaido compared to his current self. In an anime-only scene, we see Moria clash with Kaido, and he seemed to hold his own. Yes, it is said that the Gecko Pirates were annihilated in this battle, but the fact Moria clashed with Kaido and held his own for at least a couple of seconds is very impressive. This is a feat not many characters can accomplish. If Moria kept this same drive when he faced the Straw Hat Pirates, then he wouldn't have had any difficulty getting rid of them. But because of his reluctance to train, the Straw Hats defeated him, Perona was no longer a part of his crew, and he lost all of his zombies. He spent the past 10 years creating an army of zombies, and due to his battle with the Straw Hats, he had to start back at square one. The world government was aware of his defeat, and they were embarrassed by this, but fortunately for them and Moria, the rest of the world was unaware of this event. Moria had a chance to redeem himself during a Marineford, but he didn't really contribute much during the war. Granted, neither did most of the warlords who sided with the world government, but unlike the rest of them, Moria was the only one who ended up looking worse after the war ended. The world government deemed Moria as nothing but a liability at this point, since he wasn't just cut out to be a warlord anymore. They took the war as an opportunity to assassinate him and fabricate a story that he was slain in battle. Fortunately for Moria, he was rescued by Absalom and Dr. Hogback in the nick of time. This shows just how deeply they care for their captain. Maybe not Dr. Hogback because he just wants to create some zombies, but Absalom felt a genuine connection with Moria and it served him well. Even Perona, who wasn't there, heard of the news he was killed and was deeply saddened by it. After all, Perona had grown to love Moria as a father figure since he found her when she was young and raised her. Things seemed like they couldn't get worse for Moria. He only had a fraction of the zombies he once had, and he was no longer a warlord, meaning he can no longer use the world government as protection. All that was left for him was to go silent, which he did. he quietly went to the New World, where I suppose he's been rebuilding his crew. Things were calm for Moria for the next 2 years, but he still couldn't catch a break. Once he heard Absalom was captured by the Blackbeard pirates, this led him to do the most valiant thing we have ever seen him do in the series. He gathered his zombies, then stormed into an emperor's territory by himself to rescue his crewmate. Moria is lazy, but when it comes to the well-being of his living crewmates, he will get off his butt and do whatever it takes to make sure he can protect those he cares about. I have nothing but respect for this action because all Moria wanted was his crewmate back. Keep in mind that Moria is aware Blackbeard's crew is hunting other Devil Fruit users and killing them to get their powers. Moria is not afraid of death, and he still rushed in by himself because the last thing he wanted was to lose Absalom. And when he saw Absalom, he was genuinely relieved because he thought Absalom was safe. But this was just a facade to blindside Moria and catch him off guard. We know how traumatized Moria was when it comes to losing his crewmates from the past, so obviously he was enraged when he found out Absalom was dead. Blackbeard presented Moria with the opportunity to join his crew, but there's no way Moria would join him after what he had done. He is fully aware that refusing this proposal means death, but Moria would rather die than serve the crew who murdered his friend. For some reason, Blackbeard didn't kill him though. He imprisoned him, which is why I believe Moria refused his offer. With everything that has happened to him, this has been the rise and fall of Gecko Moria. He was once revered as the pirate who went toe-to-toe with Kaido and became a warlord of the sea. But because of his trauma and his laziness to be productive, his career plummeted into the dirt, and at the end of the day, he failed to keep his comrades safe. It's quite a shame that Moria has been the most unsuccessful warlord, and this all stems back to the overwhelming defeat he suffered at the hands of Kaido. However, I do sense that there is a possible redemption arc for Moria that still awaits. When Perona heard the news that Moria was still alive, she departed from Mihawk to look for Moria. She infiltrated Pirate Island where he was detained, and the implication is that she rescued him with the help of Kobe. If Moria is now free, I can't help but imagine he's going to want to avenge his fallen crewmate. He might continue to operate as an independent pirate crew, or he might end up joining an emperor. I can see the latter happening, especially him joining Cross Guild since Perona and Mihawk have history, and it'd be cool to see 4 previous warlords now working together as a Yonko crew. So far, we've seen the rise and fall of Gecko Moria, but I would love to see the rise, fall, and rise again of Gecko Moria. And that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then please consider sharing, and subscribing. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.